Hello, everyone, and welcome to the How Could You Forget podcast. It's a podcast where your hosts, Gurdon, Camp, and Lexi talk about something that maybe you've never heard of or is just simply too good to forget. We are back again this week after a brief hiatus. Life just got a little bit crazy for all of us. We did not want to just record slop for you guys. That doesn't seem very fair. So we took a...
So this week is the slop episode. Let's go.
No, This is not
You had to make
slop.
sure it was high quality slop.
Yeah.
No. I actually, with a little bit of the extra time I had, I feel like this is a solid one. So it will not be slop. At least I hope not.
It's
And
anti-slop.
we are back on our bullshit though. So you can count
I
on
was
that.
gonna make a reference to the meme that's like this is quality slop. You only like it because it's good.
Because it's good, yes.
Oh my gosh.
So painful.
Well, you know, the word slop was named the word of the year by like Merriam-Webster, I'm pretty sure. So
It was. I do remember that. But I also know dictionary.com gave it a 6-7, and
I think the 6-7 thing is too. By the way, quick tangent. We are not talking about any of that today. Thank
How
God.
could you forget 6-7? It's the next
I
episode.
just heard the song that meme comes from. The song is dog shit. It is awful. I'm like, this is where the meme came from? Because, like, y'all remember, we're old. Y'all remember when Fetty Wap would be like, 1738, and then, like, start his song? Like, at least some of those songs were catchy, and, like, I enjoyed them, and I could see how people could enjoy them. I could see how somebody wouldn't like it. But this song that has the 6-7 meme, I cannot even remember the name of it. I'm being so serious right now. It is
She'd be 16 by 7.
horrible. It does not sound very good. The dude's flow is terrible. The lyrics are awful. Like, it is just bad all around. Not even catchy or like bad good. You know what I mean? Like, it's not so bad it's good. It's just straight up dog shit.
I know it's based off of a song. I have never heard the song, and I have no plans to.
Yeah.
I have no plans.
Yeah,
I like to imagine it's just like an Among Us thing where like this just one small facet of it got so ingrained in the English language that it just fills anyone of existential dread
Like
whenever
sus.
they hear the two. Yes, literally sus. Like I can't hear the word imposter anymore. Like that's not.
Anytime I see a vent, I'll just point at it, and Lexi gets upset. She's like, shut up. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So anyway, that was the meme wrap up of this year. That is not what we're talking about today. Thank God.
This has been Lexi's
Today's
meme
topic-
review. Thank you for coming to the
Meme
podcast.
No, I think I would lose the last remaining brain cell I have for this year,
Oh,
and
God.
I still have a few days of work.
Yeah. No.
so
We need that for the episode.
I need that brain cell. Yeah, I need it for the episode, and I need that for my job.
Well, true.
So,
One of those is more important, and it's the podcast.
The episode. Yes. It's
oh my God.
very
you
clearly the
guys.
podcast. The bit is always the most important.
Okay, so I'm glad we memed a little bit because today is going to just be very, not serious as in heavy, but more serious, probably a little less memeage as what we had in the beginning. So today's topic was recommended by one of our viewers, Toby Ferry 7861, and they recommended Syd Barrett of Pink Floyd. So I thought this was interesting because I don't know a ton about Pink Floyd, but I am slightly familiar with them. I know a few of their songs, but I had actually never really heard about Syd Barrett. I mean, I knew he existed, but like I didn't know anything about him. So I thought it would be interesting to look into him today, and it will kind of lead us into having a little bit more of an open-ended discussion towards halfway/end of the episode.
Okay.
Before I start giving y'all some information, do you guys know anything about Pink Floyd, any of their songs, Syd Barrett? What's y'all's experience
My
with this?
favorite Pink Floyd album is the Nostalgia Critic parody of The Wall.
The Nostalgia Critic parody? I'm not familiar with that one.
Do either of you know what that is? I feel like I might be making
Play
too
exactly
niche of a
1
reference.
second of that clip right here.
All right here, and we're done. Okay.
And thank you so
No,
much.
but jokes aside, I do know Pink Floyd. I've listened to Dark Side of the Moon and The Wall both. They're both pretty cool. I also like Roger Waters. I know he was a member of Pink Floyd. And I like
Yeah.
his solo stuff as well. I've listened to some of it. I don't know too much about the history or the individual members though.
No.
Interesting. Okay, so you know a little bit more than even I do, I think, even though admittedly, I'm a huge classic rock fan, but Pink Floyd is one of the bands I don't know much about other than obviously The Wall and
of course.
Very iconic songs.
I just know Sid is that guy from Ice Age, but I don't think that's the right Sid. So that's as far as mine goes.
No, it's very much not.
Okay.
There's no connection between Syd Barrett and Sid from Ice Age. So yeah, Pink Floyd, like I said, I knew a little bit about them. I have heard some of their songs. I do know about Roger Waters a little bit. Had a friend that was very Roger Waters pilled.
That's a tongue twister. Jeez.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Damn. I know that they were British.
Pink
and-
Floyd.
I wonder, did you
So-
say Roger Waters' name like Roger Waters?
Is that how you
Roger
do it?
Waters.
What?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Oh,
Roger
Lord, sorry.
Waters. Oh my God, I'm going to get so much hate. Sorry to any of the English people that are in this listening group
You
that
know
we have.
who you are, you British people.
You know what you've done.
True. I don't have anything against British people. I just cannot do accents, and so a terrible British accent is the only one that I can do.
Oh, same.
So, so let's get started. We're going to be talking about Syd Barrett of Pink Floyd. I'll let you know when I'm reading, but a lot of this comes from Wikipedia because a lot of these quotes are just put really well, and I didn't feel like rewriting something that was already really good. So I'm just going to cite it and just say Wikipedia was used for a lot of this. So Roger Keith, or Syd Barrett, was born on January 6th, 1946 in Cambridge, England. I think it's Cambridge. Hope I'm saying that right.
I think you're saying it right.
Woo, British.
British.
And as you probably noticed, Syd Barrett's legal name is actually Roger Keith Barrett.
I was going to say, we got two Rogers and Pink Floyd now.
Yeah, we got two Rogers.
No, I'm Roger. No, I'm Roger. No, I'm Roger. That's how it
It's
went.
just like back and forth constantly.
Apparently, according to his sister Rosemary, he didn't like going by Syd when he was at home, but he started going by Syd at school when he was 13.
Oh.
So that's where that came from. And I believe it said that it came from some sort of musician that he liked or something of that nature. So Syd is actually not in his name at all. He just decided to go by that because he picked it up from the name of an old Cambridge jazz bassist, Syd, quote, the Beat Barrett.
Yo, the beat.
Okay.
But he decided to spell it differently. So the original Syd was S-I-D. He is Syd, S-Y-D.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Fancy. Very,
That's
very
what's-
punk.
He's kind of edgy.
He's kind of, how do you do, fellow kids?
Differentiates him from the Ice Age character. Yes. I
Yeah,
think.
that's why he's not in Ice Age, yes. Because I think Sid the Sloth is S-I-D.
Okay,
Sid
all
the
right.
Sloth.
So it's just the one letter that made him ineligible.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can't-
Yes, true.
I'm
true.
glad we got the facts right.
Yes, thank you for
only,
that.
Only facts.
I know. Well, we're only about the facts here. So I started going by Syd when he was like 13, 14 years old at school. And in junior high, he was actually taught by the mother of his future bandmate, Roger Waters. So that's how he met Roger Waters, because he was taught by Roger's mom and then later on went to school with him and all that jazz. So he attended high school with Roger Waters, as well as he met Pink Floyd's future guitarist David Gilmour in college. So the band is coming together. They probably didn't know it at the time, but it was.
Oh, yeah. It's all coming together.
I do want to give some history of the band as well as Syd's role, but I do want to let y'all know that I'm going to take more of a psychological, like higher level approach when we're discussing Syd, because I want to highlight the overlap between music, mental health, drugs, relationships, because all of those come up in Syd's story. There are numerous other videos. There's even a documentary, I believe, that was released in, I think, 2023, so very recently.
Oh, wow.
About Pink Floyd and Syd Barrett specifically. So those things dive into Pink Floyd's evolution history as well as Syd's life in much better detail. So I'm going to kind of give the high points, and then we're going to open it up for some discussion of things that I found interesting. So it's not just going to be...
And then you got further reading later if you want to watch the documentary.
Yeah, I'll try to find where that's at and either link it or we'll add it and say, you know, check out this documentary on wherever it's streaming. So if you're wanting to take a look at it. I have not seen it personally, but I am interested in watching it. This is a very interesting setup because most bands are. Syd was not actually an active member of Pink Floyd for very long. And I say active because he was very influential to the band long after either his, you could call it a removal, you could call it a departure from the band. Depends on who you ask, depends on, all of these factors. But either way, after he was actually active playing in the band, he was still influential to them. So Syd Barrett joined the band in 1965 when they were called the Tea Set, so spelled T-E-A, like the drink.
That's a horrible name for a band.
Well, just wait a second. Sometimes spelled the T as the letter -set. This is all from Wikipedia, by the way. And then when they played with another band who had the same name, so obviously wasn't that creative, Syd Barrett came up with the name the Pink Floyd Sound, also known as the Pink Floyd Blues Band, and then later the Pink Floyd, which is obviously now there.
And then they dropped the.
Yeah, they dropped the.
They dropped the.
Now it's just Pink Floyd.
That's social network fucking meme of drop the from Facebook.
Oh, like
basically.
the Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Was it called the Facebook?
It was originally called the Facebook.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. I don't know why they changed it. I think it rolls off the tongue just fine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then, of course, before Syd Barrett even joined, I think they had like 3 or 4 different names or something like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The name itself, like Pink Floyd, is derived from 2 blues musicians, apparently, who Syd Barrett was very influenced by.
Sid loves the blues. Was he okay?
He
was he
does.
Just depressed? Goodness.
Well, we'll get there. He does love the blues. So apparently he was influenced by a man named Pink Anderson, who was an American blues singer and guitarist, and Floyd Council, who was also an American blues guitarist, mandolin player, and singer.
Mandolin?
You know, the name Pink Floyd suddenly sounds a little bit less cool when you realize it's just 2 people's first names.
2 guys' names.
2 dudes' names.
Right.
Like, it sounds so mysterious.
Like,
and then it's like,
yeah.
literally. It's
We're
just
going to call this one...
shout out to James Bryant. We're here to perform for you.
just putting 2 words together. Geez, who would do that and make their whole brand off that? That's crazy. Anyway.
Right, exactly. Campfire Harvest.
No. He's 3 things technically if you think about it.
Oh,
He's
true.
Campfire,
Campfire and Harvest.
True.
Whoa.
Okay. All right.
We're
I got
getting
that.
meta in
You've
here.
saved yourself.
That is cool.
Yourself.
So
you're more interesting.
So 3 of them
now.
was okay, but then two was boring.
Oh, yeah, 3 things is cool.
Okay, we got it. Perfect.
It's like it's like a three-way sandwich where you have 3 pieces of bread almost. Like that's more interesting than just a regular sandwich.
It's like a Big Mac.
Damn, you got him.
Dang.
I did.
All right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have the stage set for the Pink Floyd. So Syd Barrett wrote the majority of the band's first album called The Piper at the Gate of Dawn. Kind of a cool name on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, poet.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, Sid, go off. And the release of some of this stuff is interesting because apparently at the time some of it was written, it wasn't released, but then it was later on a later album, and then like retrospectively they released the album in a different. It's weird. Anyway, for the sake of easiness for this video, this is the first album with most of the songs being written by Syd Barrett. And interestingly enough, which is not very shocking, I hadn't heard most of these before I looked them up, but again, that's not saying a lot because I'm not very well versed in Pink Floyd releases and their albums and stuff. Yeah, I guess. Pink Head, whatever.
They called.
None of those are good. A Floydite? I don't know what.
Floydite is great. I love Floydites.
This is all wild.
Hello, I run the fan page. We are the Pinky Floydites.
Oh my goodness.
How could you forget the Pinky Floydites? That would be the name of the episode.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, I was talking about their first album as a band, The Piper at the Gate of Dawn. And like I said, kind of metal name. And I didn't really know about it, but I looked into it. And I thought it was cool because the album itself was number 6 on the UK albums chart. So it was big. It was big in the UK.
Well, out of the 6 things that were on the chart at that time as well, because this was prehistoric times. So
not really, but it only hit number 131 on the US Billboard 200. So was like it made some noise, but definitely did not land very much in America as much as it did in the UK.
Yeah,
so
true.
I want to say that the British invasion was happening at this time. but I think that the early sound of the Beatles, who were the frontrunners of this trend, were a slightly different flavor than Pink Floyd. If you do listen to the early music of Syd Barrett, you will hear a lot of Beatles influence, though. I will send this to you guys. I don't think we're going to be able to play any of this because I think we would be striked absolutely terribly. But just so that you guys can give a little bit of a listen, this is a song that Syd Barrett wrote called See Emily Play. And this song actually, there was something interesting about it. I think that they didn't put it on the album originally. They were going to do it as a single, and then they were like, yeah, never mind. And then they put it as the lead on the US version of the album. I don't know when that was. I don't know if that was much later or they just
maybe that's why
reformulated it.
Too long if it's such a long or such a unique song, right?
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, if you listen to it, it's unique, but it's also like I hear the Beatles influence.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I am listening to it right now,
crazy.
And it is very like that.
Can't play 1 second exactly of See Emily Play right
if you can
here.
Get away with it, right, sure.
And Syd Barrett even said that the Beatles were an inspiration to him. Obviously, the Beatles started kind of kicking around music, I think, in like 1964, 65, I want to say. This isn't an episode about them, so I could be wrong.
Lexi,
but,
do you believe that, like, back in the day, do you think there was just a bunch of, like, Beatles knockoff bands, kind of like how...
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people that once the Beatles started gaining traction, people were like, oh, this is the new sound. Absolutely. Music started sounding like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And so I was wondering if maybe people were just overexposed to a whole bunch of Beatles-like music. And so, again, in the UK, they were kind of like, oh, I kind of like this. But then people here were
right,
kind of
while
like,
the US was like, Beatlemania, and then nobody else.
Yeah.
That's a good theory. I think there's probably some truth to that. So, like I said, Syd was very inspired by the Beatles, and through that inspiration, the influence is pretty present in his music. I mean, if you listen to See Emily Play, it does sound very much, it's psychedelic rock.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what the Beatles are. I would say, though, I think the interesting thing for me when I listened to this song, because I'd never heard it before, I'm like, this is a lot more trippy than the Beatles, though. Like, the Beatles had a very psychedelic sound, but the guitar and then the other instrumentation in this song, I'm like, this pushes psychedelic rock a little bit more, in my opinion. And we'll get into a little bit about that too, and like Syd Barrett's influence in, not only in Pink Floyd, but in music in general. But I want to say, I think that the Beatles and Pink Floyd do have at least 3 things in common, I determined. They're both British. They have British origins. They have psychedelic sounds. And they all probably use way too much LSD. So that's going to be a trend that we see throughout this episode.
All right.
So it's very clear how Pink Floyd and even just Syd Barrett himself was influential to this genre of psychedelic rock throughout the 60s and even into the 70s and beyond, of course, because once you achieve that like legend status or that influence status, then you will continue to inspire people for like decades.
He's an influencer to this day.
Yeah. The early influencers. Yeah.
Early influencer.
Exactly.
Lexi, I have another question about music.
Okay, I'll try to answer
this. Do you think musicians these days are also tripping LSD, or do you think that was such a thing of the times that made much more psychedelic like music?
Oh, I think it was much more prevalent in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if anybody's like dropping acid these days. I'm sure that people still do.
100%. There's still people that do, but it was
100%.
definitely but like back then. Sorry to kind of hijack the answer, but I know back in the 60s it was like acid and LSD were like they were so cultural, especially to like fans of these bands and like the hippie culture and everything. Like it was very. It was like a cultural touchstone almost to do LSD.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, it's more like, I don't know, like weed and cocaine, basically. But in the 60s, it was like,
Well, and I think that drug culture has changed a lot, too, because we know a lot more now. Mm-hmm. Like, we have been able to do brain scans and figure out, oh, hey, maybe this isn't good for you.
Yeah, maybe doing a shitload of LSD is not actually that great for your brain.
Yeah. But I honestly think in the 60s...
people from the 60s are just shocked.
How could this happen?
Oh my gosh. John Lennon comes back in a time machine. He's like, huh? Yeah. So going back a little bit for some context, according to Wikipedia, so we're going back to 1965. I was just talking about 1967 when the Piper at the Gate of Dawn came out. We're going to go back a little bit. In 1965, Barrett had his first LSD trip in the garden of his friend Dave Gale with Ian Moore and the future Pink Floyd cover artist Storm Thorgerson. I think I'm saying that right.
That is an awesome name. Oh
That's
my God.
the most awesome name I've heard today.
It is a pretty cool name.
Thorgerson.
Yes,
and
hello,
during
I'm
this,
Storm Thorgerson. Hello.
Beautiful.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah.
Lexi.
He apparently was like a huge artist too. He did this Storm Thorgerson, even though the episode's not about him, but apparently he did a bunch of album art and other art for like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Muse, like
Oh wow. Okay.
big groups.
Yeah, bro's got a stacked resume. Jeez.
Yeah, he's pretty he has a Wikipedia page. The other guy doesn't. So that was his first LSD trip. It was in 1965. And then later on during I assume it would be a different trip because it says during one trip. So I don't think this is the same one. Sid Barrett and another one of his friends, Paul Cherrier, I think it's French, hope I'm saying that right, ended up naked in the bath reciting the mantra, no rules, no rules. And as a result of continuing to use LSD, the band became absorbed in Saint Mat. I have no idea what that is. It's supposed to be a sect of Sikhism.
So it's like a religion they were following now.
Yes,
Okay.
it was like a different group of a break off of Sikhism. And Thorgerson and Barrett went to a London hotel to meet the guru of this Sant Mat sect of Sikhism.
Okay.
This is so wild. I don't know if they were high the whole time.
This
I
is the
don't know
longest
if-
trip ever. It's lasted 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God, I bet. But through meeting this guru, Thorgerson was able to join this sect of Sant Mat. But Sid Barrett was deemed too young, so they said you cannot join.
How old was he at the time?
That's a good question. 1965. Let's see. He was born in 46.
40. Okay, so he would have been 18 or 19. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were like, "Hey, you're too young to join."
Losers.
Which I don't know why that's a problem for a. It sounds a little culty, not to be mean. If it's not, I'm sorry for prescribing that to this group, but very interesting. So, yeah, they were like, "Hey, Sid Barrett, you're too young to join, so you can't." His friend Storm Thorgerson said that he believed that this was a deeply important event in Barrett's life, and that Barrett was actually really upset by being rejected by this group. So
That's sad.
After this rejection, as he was living by his friends, he wrote more songs, which is, he channeled that into music, which is great. And he wrote the song called Bike. And I'm going to send you guys the song Bike. Again, I don't think we can play most of it. I do encourage you to look this one up because this one is interesting. And I'll just give you guys a couple seconds to listen to the song.
Yeah, let's
Bike
spin it.
by Sid
I'm getting an
Barrett.
ad for truffle fries right now. Hold on.
1 second of Bike. This sounds like I'm at a carnival.
Yes, it does kind of sound like that.
It is kind of like carnival-y, but it's like a carnival where they like are taking it way too seriously. Like that's what that's like.
This is the serious carnival.
I think this song is really fascinating because 2 things. One, I definitely hear the influence on Pink Floyd's later music in this early song. And 2, I had never really heard a Sid Barrett song, where he did most of the lyrics. And he's just so straightforward.
Yeah.
It's like, I got a bike. I put things that make it look good on there. It's like, you know what? Real.
Honestly,
real. So yeah, if you guys aren't able to listen to it.
Respect. Honestly, listen to it.
The thing that I think is really funny about the song Bike is that Sid Barrett has a way of being very whimsical, but yet being so straightforward. And I'm like, that's really interesting. Because I don't know if I've really heard another song that's kind of like that. Because again, it's so whimsical and like psychedelic, but it's also... Yeah, he's just straight up talking about a bike. Like, there could be a metaphor there, but I don't think so. I think he's just talking about his bike.
If I had to guess, I'm assuming he was just on so much acid that he's just like, oh man, I got a really cool bike. Yeah, I'm gonna write about my bike. And then just went, I like my bike. Yeah, I'm really digging this. Yeah, you guys digging my bike? Yeah.
Also,
they're like, yeah, we are.
It is also possible that there is a metaphor there, but I feel like it's actually kind of a showcase of some pretty good songwriting where there could be a metaphor and you could dig deeper into it. But also, it's just a great song about a bike. You know?
Exactly.
It can mean different things.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I was like, huh, okay. Gerd, interesting that you mentioned LSD because this is where things start to take
I kind of gathered there's going to be a lot of LSD involved.
A little bit,
There is. By the time 1967 rolled around, Syd Barrett was already starting to suffer from health issues due to his frequent LSD use. And again, like I said, this was around the time that they did release the Piper at the Gates of Dawn. But a few people that were close to Syd Barrett and the band felt like he just wasn't really himself anymore. He wasn't really the guy that they had grown up with and started the band with. They said that he kind of developed a blank stare and just kind of looked like he wasn't all there. And according to David Gilmour, who was his friend and future guitarist for Pink Floyd, said that he, quote, stared right through you whenever you were trying to interact with him. And David Gilmour was actually asked to substitute in for Syd during a couple of gigs, more than a couple, I think, quite a few, because Syd had an increasing amount of erratic behavior where he would kind of just be in another world. He would be not even playing during the show. He'd just be standing there, not playing when he was supposed to. And so his bandmates were getting really concerned about what was going on. And this is a quote directly from Wikipedia. It says, on the 26th of January, 1968, when Roger Waters was driving the band to a show at Southampton University, they elected not to pick up Syd. One person said, quote, shall we pick Syd up? And another band member said, let's not bother. As Barrett had written the bulk of the band's material, the plan was to retain him as a non-touring member, as the Beach Boys had done with Brian Wilson, but this proved impractical. So that was the quote. Aww. So even starting in early 1968, they're like, somebody said, hey, should we even go get him? And then someone said, why worry about it, basically.
Dang.
We're not even sure if he's going to be mentally there to play. So also, I did not know that the Beach Boys had removed Brian Wilson as a touring member. I learned that fact through this quote.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I didn't know that either.
Interesting. Because I always hear that Brian Wilson is incredibly influential to the Beach Boys. So, but maybe, this episode's not about him, but maybe if he had a lot of issues as well with drugs or alcohol or what have you, they were like, hey, can't tour with you. So, and like the quote said, with that idea, this proved impractical for Syd.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that very quick thing to add in about that as well. It reminds me, and I had just learned about this recently, that I think it's the main guy of the Bare Naked Ladies, I think. Kind of had a similar situation like that he was like the big rock star and the face of the band and stuff like that. But he kind of was like, he went down the rock star path and was just having too much quote unquote fun of like drinking and partying and stuff like that. And so they kind of removed him. But again, like when you hear that, like chicken to China, the Chinese chicken, like that's him. And so I'm like, song. I know you did.
Oh, I have beef with him over that, or chicken, I should say.
Chicken.
Oh,
chicken
hate
song.
That song.
Okay, continue. Lexi, sorry.
The music of it is really interesting. I cannot stand the way he sings that in the lyrics. If I could hear it without any words in it, I would like it a lot more.
She's like, the instrumental of this song is great.
Yeah, the instrumental is fine. I rock with it. The other stuff, I'm like, it drives me nuts. So yeah, a good point though. That has happened a lot with certain people, and either they are removed or they just straight up die. I mean, I think that was something that happened to AC/DC. I want to say one of their members, Bon Scott, died, and they were like, and I think he died from complications from an overdose. I want to say so. Like, yeah, not uncommon with rock stars that this is a thing that happens. It's just kind of crazy because like the mid to late 60s, that's pretty early, like in the rock star legacy, so it's just kind of fascinating to me. But that being said, they're thinking about removing him, making him a non-touring member. They didn't really even have to go that route because on April 6th, 1968, Pink Floyd announced that Syd Barrett was no longer a member of the group. And that was the same day that their contract with Black Hill Enterprises was terminated. I don't know if that was just because the agreement expired or they terminated it for more serious reasons. I didn't look too much into it. But
was that just like their record label?
Yeah, I think so. That was just who they were signed with.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible maybe the term just lapsed and they decide not to renew, or maybe the label didn't know how they were going to keep doing stuff without Sid, so they just...
So interestingly enough, the second part of the quote is, quote, considering him the band's musical leader, Black Hill Enterprises retained Sid Barrett.
Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They probably were like, we're going to stick with Sid. The rest of y'all can go find someone
And then they all faded into obscurity.
Yeah, Pink Floyd was never heard of again. And that was the episode. Thank you all for...
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, my goodness. So in the realm of Sid Barrett, because again, I'm not going to go down the whole route with Pink Floyd because
Pink Floyd.
Plenty of they're not going goodbye. They're still part of the story, but I'm not deep diving into their entire history because that's not what the episode's about. But Sid Barrett did try to do a solo career for a few years from the 1968 retention of him with Black Hill Enterprises. All the way up until and it says up until 1972, but it was kind of spotty. He mostly recorded songs in studio versus doing live performances. I bet the label did this on purpose because, of his history. So then there's a quote here that says in May of 1972, May 9th, 1972, he was free from his EMI contract, which I don't know if EMI was like the parent company of them. I don't know. It gets kind of confusing. But he signed a document that ended his association with Pink Floyd and any financial interest in future recordings.
Oh, no.
Okay.
So he basically said, I don't want anything to do with this.
Wow.
I don't want y'all. Yeah.
Yeah. So 1972. And then in August of 1974, he was actually convinced to return to the studio to try to make some songs. He did record for 3 days, but after this, he decided to leave the music industry completely.
Wait, sorry, and that was 3 days?
That's yeah.
He recorded for 3 days. I don't know if it was one after another. I think maybe just total, he only recorded for the equivalent of like 3 days.
Either way, that's wild.
That's insane.
Yeah. So... Like I said, I don't think it was
how bad did those have to go for him to be like, all right, I quit music, like genuinely at that point.
Just leaving the industry.
Well, I think unfortunately, if he was continuing to use LSD, which it sounds like he probably was, or, maybe turn to other things, he probably just thought, hey, I've lost it. I don't have the magic or the, when I was writing stuff in 1965, 1967,
I can't
it's not the
that
same.
high that is bike. I can't get back
I mean, I guess.
Dude.
Maybe.
He will never peak again. But also, kind of in that same vein, like if he was also still heavy into drug use, like, drugs, especially LSD, they can make you just make erratic decisions and like behave weirdly, right? So maybe it was just like an impulse decision of, I want to go back into the music industry. And then another impulse decision of, never mind, I hate it here. Like, it could just be like that.
Very much could be. And that is something that we'll discuss a little bit more later about, a lot of people have theorized that he had a mental break in 1965 when he was, on some of those extended LSD trips. And so it would make a lot of sense if his behavior was still erratic, into the future, because like you said, I'm actually going to do it. No, actually, I hate this, would make a lot of sense.
Yo-yoing back and forth. Yeah.
So one of the stories that I want to share that I thought was very interesting, and this is again, according to the Wikipedia, was when Pink Floyd was in the last little bit of recording their 9th album, which was Wish You Were Here, which is the one that I'm actually familiar with. So I'm just going to read this directly as a quote because it's sad, quite frankly.
It's heartbreaking. Yeah.
On the 5th of June, 1975, Sid Barrett visited the members of Pink Floyd during the final stages of their recording of their 9th album, Wish You Were Here. He attended the Abbey Road session unannounced, and so Abbey Road is just a recording studio. Which is why the Beatles made it famous, because Abbey Road. But he attended the Abbey Road session unannounced, and he was watching the band work on their final mix for the song Shine On You Crazy Diamond, a song that was about him. Sid Barrett was 29 at the time. He was overweight and he had shaved off all of his hair, including his eyebrows. And his former bandmates did not initially recognize him. Barrett spent part of the session brushing his teeth. So he was brushing his teeth while the rest of the band was recording.
Okay.
Roger Waters asked him what he thought of the song, to which Sid Barrett responded, "Sounds a bit old." He's reportedly to have briefly attended the reception for David Gilmour's wedding to Ginger that immediately followed these recording sessions, but David Gilmour said he had no recollection of this and that this was the last time any member of the group saw him, was at this recording session for the song about him.
Yeah.
I didn't know that song was about him. Oh gosh.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
God, that's so sad.
It's very sad.
It is. That's why I said it's about to
gosh.
get pretty sad, and that's why I just wanted to read it as a quote because I don't think I could have done any better of a job.
Yeah, true. That was a good choice. Yeah.
But yeah, "Shine On You Crazy Diamond," if people are unfamiliar, I was fairly unfamiliar until I listened to it. I'm like, oh yeah, I have heard this. The official music video version is only about 13 to 14 minutes, but I believe I saw somewhere that they ended up splitting it up into like the beginning of of the album and then the end of the album, and so I think it's like 20 something minutes in total.
Goodness.
It's a very long song. So on the album they have "Shine On You Crazy Diamond" parts 1 through 5 is the lead off single or the lead off song, and it's 13 minutes and 33 seconds. And then the ending song is "Shine On You Crazy Diamond" parts 6 through, I think that says 11. I hate Roman numerals. I think that says 11. And that song is 12 minutes and 24 seconds. I listened to the first part of the "Shine On You Crazy Diamond," and I'm not going to link it because it's 13 minutes. We're not going to be able to play any of it.
I was going to say, even a second of that just would not get it across at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Because it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful song, mostly instrumental, and the lyrics are as follows. I'm just going to read the lyrics because it's pretty short. "Remember when you were young, you shone like the sun. Shine on, you crazy diamond. Now there's a look in your eyes, like black holes in the sky. Shine on, you crazy diamond. You were caught in the crossfire of childhood and stardom, blown on the steel breeze. Come on, you target for faraway laughter. Come on, you stranger, you legend, you martyr, and shine. You reached for the secret too soon. You cried for the moon. Shine on, you crazy diamond. Threatened by shadows at night and exposed to the light. Shine on, you crazy diamond. While you wore out your welcome with random precision, rode on the steel breeze. Come on, you raver, you seer of visions. Come on, you painter, you piper, you prisoner, and shine." So those are the lyrics to the first part of "Shine On You Crazy Diamond."
Damn.
And when you read that, you can very much tell that that's supposed to be about Sid Barrett.
Yeah.
I did not know that originally, but now that I heard it and I read the lyrics, I'm like,
yeah,
ooh.
Now that I know more about Sid Barrett's like backstory a little bit more, it's like, that just slots exactly into place.
It's perfectly. Yeah.
So
that's so sad, dude. Like,
I know it is really sad. That's why I was like, okay, I'm just going to read these seriously because there's just not even any joke to be made because it's just like, wow. And we'll get to that here in a little bit. Let me wrap up a little bit about Sid's life and then we'll hit on some of the other stuff I wanted to open up to you guys about. So 1975, during those sessions, that was when the band last saw him. In 1978, Sid Barrett went to live with his mother in Cambridge because he was out of money. You know, he signed that thing saying, hey, I don't want anything to do with Pink Floyd. Although this quote from Wikipedia does say, according to David Gilmour, until his death, he received royalties from his work with Pink Floyd, with David Gilmour saying, quote, I made sure the money got to him.
Oh,
in 1996.
Dude, that guy's awesome. What?
Mm-hmm.
I love this Gilmour dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty solid of like, hey, he deserved to get royalties for the stuff that he did. In 1996, Sid Barrett was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of Pink Floyd, but he did not attend the ceremony. He was alive at the time, but he did not go. There is, of course, a lot more information about his life during this time. I'm not going to cover it beat by beat in depth because he did little public appearances and just kind of faded into a reclusive lifestyle, although his sister would disagree with that. And we'll get to that here in a second. Syd Barrett did die at home in Cambridge on July 7th, 2006. He was 60, and he had pancreatic cancer.
He basically lived a secluded lifestyle from like 1970 till 2006. Like, oh my god.
1978, roughly.
Goodness gracious.
I think there were a couple of things in there, but yeah, he pretty much
just avoided the public eye, or tried to at least. 20, almost 30 years.
He went and lived with his family, and he only made a few public statements or appearances. Like I said, he did not go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, things like that. I believe I read somewhere that it says he made his final public acknowledgement of his musical past in 2002. His first since the 1970s, and this is a direct quote from Wikipedia, where he autographed 320 copies of Psychedelic Renegades, which was a book by a photographer named Mick Rock, which is a cool name, which contained a number of photos of Barrett. So,
wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because he was autographing these books, and when the author came up to him and said, hey, would you autograph my book? Barrett agreed, which was pretty out of character for him. And since he had been going by Roger Keith at home, because he did not go by Syd, he just signed the book Barrett.
Oh.
So
dang.
That was very interesting.
Yeah.
That I think he probably had a little bit of trouble between kind of reconciling, his family life, his birth name, with this alter ego of a sense of Syd Barrett. At least that's kind of the impression I get. Obviously, that's pure speculation. I don't have any sources for that. That's just my opinion there. And yeah, like I said, passed away from pancreatic cancer at age 60 in July of 2006. He was cremated on the 18th of July, 2006, and had a funeral, but no Pink Floyd members attended this funeral. In a statement, one of their band members said, quote, "The band are very naturally upset and sad to hear of Syd Barrett's death. Syd was a guiding light in the early band lineup and leaves a legacy which continues to inspire." David Gilmour said, quote, "Do find time to play some of Syd's songs and to remember him as the madcap genius who made us all smile with his wonderfully eccentric songs about bikes, gnomes, and scarecrows." His career was which honestly, baller.
Yeah,
his career was painfully short, yet he touched more people than he could ever know. So David Gilmour said that about him. I thought that was pretty sweet, pretty moving.
That's nice.
It's said that none of the Pink Floyd members attended. I'm curious if that was on purpose of Syd Barrett's family.
Just didn't let them know.
Because it's possible they did not let them know, or that maybe the Pink Floyd members felt like, well, the family doesn't really care for us that much. Maybe we shouldn't attend. We shouldn't make a scene. We'll make a statement. We'll say our thoughts. We'll make public statements, but maybe it was better for them to not attend, because since Syd Barrett did not attend the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction 10 years earlier, maybe the members out of respect thought, yeah, we probably shouldn't attend this, even if they knew about it.
I am curious. I'm assuming you're going to go into in-depth on this, but I'm wondering, why did Syd Barrett's family not care or care for Pink Floyd or the members or anything, I wonder?
Thank you for saying that. That does lead in.
That's her next line.
That does lead into exactly where I'm going. So, like I said, I know I'm reading a ton of quotes from the Wikipedia page, but again, I'm going to read a quote from this section so we can discuss. This is a pretty long section, but I'll break it up. So here it says, quote, "Members of Barrett's family reported he neither suffered from mental illness nor had he received treatment for it since they had resumed regular contact in the 1980s." So when he moved back home with his family. His sister, I believe, Rosemary Breen, said that he had spent some time in a private, quote, home for lost souls. It was called Greenwoods in Essex, but that there was no formal therapy program there. Some years later, Barrett agreed to sessions with a psychiatrist at Fulbourn Hospital in Cambridge. But Breen, so that was his sister, said that neither medication nor therapy was considered appropriate. Breen also denied Barrett was reclusive or that he was vague about his past, saying, quote, "Roger," meaning Syd Barrett, Roger Keith, aka Syd Barrett, "may have been a bit selfish, or rather self-absorbed, but when people called him a recluse, they were really only projecting their own disappointment. He knew what they wanted, but he wasn't willing to give it to them," she says. In 1996, Wright said that Barrett's mother told the members of Pink Floyd not to contact him because being reminded of the band would make him depressed for weeks.
Damn.
So that would explain why they decided not to attend his funeral, because even though he was dead, I think probably out of respect to the family, or like I said, just to not cause issues if they were to show up. So I think that's really interesting because his family, like specifically his sister, is saying, you know, he's not reclusive and he's not vague about his past. It's like, no, he kind of still was a bit reclusive. Like, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but like, it's just a way to describe the fact that he was a part of a band, a musician. He was like big in the music scene.
In the public eye.
And then he just, in the public eye. And then he decided to step back. Like, being reclusive isn't a bad thing, or isn't inherently a bad thing. So I think it was really interesting the way that she kind of views that, and then that she had said that he did go to see a psychiatrist, but that neither medication nor therapy was considered appropriate for him.
Dang,
I thought that was really interesting, that the family's like, yeah, he didn't suffer from mental illness.
Yeah, he's fine.
Well, it's like,
I mean, it's one of those very difficult things, right? Of, you don't want to paint your child or your family member as suffering from mental illness, especially back then. Like, nowadays we're much more open to have these conversations, and again, literally we're having a conversation right now. But like back then, if you're like, oh yeah, that person has some mental illness or suffers from, even if you just said like depression, like that could be seen immediately as like, oh, something's wrong with them. Oh, I don't want them around XYZ people. I don't want them, like, the people to know that he's going through all of that stuff. So I'm assuming you were about to get into that as well, but
yes, that was going to be the next point. I'm glad you said that, because, you know, she said that, or well, I guess I wouldn't say she, his sister did not say that. His mother apparently said, hey, in 1996, band members do not contact him because he will be depressed for weeks. So like, if he's already depressed about that part of his life, he probably is suffering from depression. Like, I know that there was not nearly as much of understanding as we have nowadays, but like, I think it is safe to say that he struggled with depression at minimum. I can totally understand why his family members, and especially his sister, would not have wanted to admit that he was mentally ill, even if he did ever receive a diagnosis, because like you said, Gurdon, that may have meant that he would have been in an institution, locked away forever, not able to see his family, not able to live a regular life. And it sounds like his sister really did love him and care about him. So I think she just wanted to protect him, and maybe was even in denial herself of like, oh, well, see, like, he's fine. Like, they would go like photograph things together and like hang out and like spend time. And so she was like, hey, he was fine. Like, we would go hang out and go to the beach and like take pictures of stuff and go get food, and everything was great. Like, so her view of him and her relationship with him was very different than that of his relationship with his bandmates, other people in his life, the public eye, like all of that stuff. So I'm in no way an expert, but I think it is pretty clear that something was not right. And that he was struggling in some ways mentally, even if it was just depression, even though there are people that have said more severe things about what their opinion is of him.
Well, I mean, again, I'm not trying to be judgmental or anything along those lines, but when you described how he kept himself and how he looked at the last time Pink Floyd saw him, that is not indicative of somebody who is not suffering from some form of mental distress or something like that, of shaved eyebrows, unkempt, just very, very different than you'd expect.
Brushing your teeth in the middle of a recording session, like.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue if he was just a goofy guy, like maybe he was trying to do that to get him to laugh, but like it was clear he wasn't doing that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it was like a mentally sound person doing it, that would just be like a baller way to establish dominance. But
Camp joins the call every day.
like a joking, just goofing around, like, hey guys, haha, I'm gonna dance behind you while you're trying to record, throw you off, like, But no, it did, and who knows? Maybe it was that. I wasn't there. I don't know much about it, but I'm just like, that doesn't really read to me as just like a I'm trying to
like with the context of everything else that we've learned about today, I don't think it was an attempt to be goofy. I think his brain was just like fried, really, whether from drug use or mental illness, or more likely a combination of both. Like it's one of those.
Well, that's the dangerous cocktail of that, right? Is I think Lexi's probably about to get into this, but that's the extremely dangerous cocktail of substance abuse and mental illness that then they just compound onto one another.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So I wanted to get into the last section on the Wikipedia that I thought was like particularly hard-hitting for this episode, is the band opinions on Sid's potential diagnoses, maybe not. This is very interesting. I'm just going to read this as a direct quote, and then we can discuss it. So, quote, in the 1960s, Barrett used psychedelic drugs, especially LSD, and there are theories that he had schizophrenia. Wright asserted that Barrett's problems stemmed from a massive overdose of acid, as the change in his personality and behavior came on suddenly. However, Waters maintains that Barrett suffered without a doubt from schizophrenia. David Gilmour said, quote, in my opinion, his nervous breakdown would have happened anyway. It was a deep-rooted thing. But I'll say the psychedelic experience might have acted as a catalyst. Still, I don't think he could deal with the vision of success and all the things that went with it. According to David Gilmour, in a 1974 interview, the other members of Pink Floyd approached psychiatrist R.D. Laing with, quote, the Barrett problem. After hearing a tape of a Barrett conversation, Laing declared him incurable.
Goodness. Okay.
You can read this multiple ways. How I read it is that it really does seem like the other members of Pink Floyd did care about Syd Barrett. That comes through a lot. And to read the last quote that I have here, quote, Barrett's decline had a profound effect on Waters' songwriting, and the theme of mental illness permeated the later Pink Floyd albums, The Dark Side of the Moon in 1973, Wish You Were Here in 1975, and The Wall in 1979. The reference to a steel rail in the song Wish You Were Here, Can You Tell a Green Field from a Cold Steel Rail, references a recurring theme in Barrett's song, quote, If It's In You from the Madcap Laughs, his album. The song suite Shine On You Crazy Diamond from Wish You Were Here is also a tribute to Barrett. So it's pretty obvious to me that at minimum, Roger Waters is pretty clear that he is affected by this, and he is expressing a lot of sadness. And the song Wish You Were Here, that song has a slightly personal connection to me because it reminds me of somebody that I used to be friends with who went down a path that was not very healthy for them. And reading the backstory about that it references things to do with Syd Barrett and the steel rail, that makes me even more emotional. It was already hard for me to listen to that song, and I purposely did not listen to it before this episode. But it's even more difficult to listen to, having done all the research and the, not all the research, you know
knowing
what I mean?
The backstory.
Looking into it, knowing the backstory and being like, oh man, okay, so this actually is a song about somebody who you have lost to, even if they're physically still here, you've lost them to mental illness or to substance abuse or, you know, factors for that. So, that is just heartbreaking. And I think one of the other things that makes me angry in this instance is that
the psychologist?
The members the members approached a psychiatrist to be like, hey, what do we do? You know, we have this friend, we have this band member, and we don't know what to do. And the psychiatrist just goes, oh, okay, let me hear what he sounds like. And they played him a conversation, and he goes, oh, he's incurable.
Yeah.
Just immediately.
I'm like, what?
That's that's crazy to me. Like, imagine just not being willing to do your job.
I mean, I guess it was 1974.
I mean, I guess. But like,
so
nah, I don't like it.
Still not cool.
It's one of those very difficult things of, I think, I don't know which one of you just said this, but one of you just even said like, yeah, it was like 50 years ago, basically. Yeah. Things have advanced much more, and we have a better understanding of mental illness and the brain. And hey, if somebody's suffering from this, then this is kind of a good way of therapy, or this is a good medication that can help ground them, or many, many different ways, right? But just immediately brushing it off as, nah, like, imagine you're a psychiatrist and, like, could you just say that to anybody? Like, for anybody that just came in, could you just be like, oh, besides somebody that's like, yeah, I lost my dog and I'm sad. Okay, here you go. Here's some benzos. Bye. Like, with anything harder than that, where you just like, nah, too hard. Like, what?
Yeah, I didn't even
in the
try.
70s for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
For sure.
Like, back then, it's just
because
like,
I know that happens now.
Yeah.
I don't have personal evidence, but I do have some people closer to me, and just reading stories that, like, I have someone who's closer to me that have has told me their experiences with a psychiatrist, and I was blown away by some of the things that they said. Now, I do want to preface, it's not all psychiatrists, it's not all mental health professionals. There have been so many fantastic ones in my own life and for those close to me, but I have heard a few stories from people of horror stories where I'm like, huh? And like, this is in the year like 2020, 2022, like recent history. So I'm not entirely shocked that in 1974 a psychiatrist would go, I don't know what to do about that. But they would just
crazy and then just move
Sid Barrett. They would deem him incurable. That they wouldn't even say, well, this is really interesting. I've never experienced this. Or, oh, this is an actual conversation you guys had with him. Wow, I'm shocked. I mean, I don't know what to say.
What makes it even crazier to me, and Camp, if you were going to say something, I'm sorry for interrupting. If this was your job as a psychiatrist, you know that these people are going to pay you very well for this service as well. Like, these aren't just going to be like Tom, Dick, and Harry down the road. Like, these are literally probably one of the biggest bands in the UK, and they're coming to you being like, "Can you help our friend?" And then he just goes, I don't know.
It's wild because this was after Dark Side of the Moon. So 1963 was Dark Side of the Moon, or 73, excuse me. I can't say numbers either. 1973 was Dark Side of the Moon. 1974 is when they approached the psychiatrist. So it's like we're going on about 10 years since the band formed.
Mm-hmm.
And about 8-ish years since, 7 or 8, since they had to either ask Sid Barrett to leave, the contract was terminated, whatever happened, that he departed from the group.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's kind of like, what would they have to gain by asking the psychiatrist for help if it wasn't for, we really care about our friend and our fellow former fellow bandmate, we're concerned about him? Because they had just released Dark Side of the Moon. Like, even when Dark Side of the Moon came out, it was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just retroactively a big deal. I even want to look right now to just see how this charted, because I guarantee you, even at the time, it was big. Yeah, okay. So although it held the #1 spot in the US for only a week, it remained on the Billboard 200 album chart for 736 non-consecutive weeks. From March of 1973 to July of 1988.
Oh my God. 700 weeks. That's like...
And it had an 84-week run from March of 1973 to October of 1974.
That's insane, dude.
That's wild. Insane. Like 14 years on the freaking charts.
That confirms that even when this album was released, not just retroactively, it was a big deal. And so it wasn't like, because when I first read that, I'm like, well, I guess you could make the argument that maybe they're going to the psychiatrist being like, please, we need Sid Barrett back because he was the magic, or like, we haven't been doing well. But it's like, no, they just released Dark Side of the Moon.
Like one of the biggest albums in history.
Yeah, they're doing fine.
They didn't need Sid Barrett to be successful. It shows that they wanted him, that they cared about him as a friend and as a bandmate, to say, hey, what do we do?
Yeah.
About our friend. And so to be met with, he's crazy. Can't cure him.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's another thing. That's another thing. Saying someone is incurable after listening to like one conversation with them is wild. Like, they haven't
extremely unethical.
That's so crazy to me. It's like, bro, you heard like one audio file basically, or like one audio recording of this one dude. It's like you haven't had a chance to like talk to him yet, ask him questions, see like his physical mannerisms as well. Like you don't know anything. Like how are you just saying that so quickly out of your ass, dude? Like, Jesus.
Yeah, it's like I said, unethical is the only word I can think of for it.
100%.
That would not fly today. At least it shouldn't.
Shouldn't. Keyword.
And it's also the idea of like, I know that they put incurable in quotes, so like maybe the doctor did not exactly say incurable, stamp, and move on.
Yeah, but even then, it's like
just the idea of even suggesting that, and not even being like, oh yeah, this is strange behavior, but what's he up to now? Oh well, he lives with his family now, or oh we haven't spoken with him. Oh well, maybe he has been able to turn his life around, or maybe he's not this way anymore, or whatever it might be. I want to say, I think it sounds like they approached the psychiatrist in 1974 about this. And then I think their session for Shine On You Crazy Diamond was in June of 1975. So this was after they had consulted with the psychiatrist. Yeah. So I think, unfortunately, if they consult with the psychiatrist in 1974, then in 1975, they're recording Shine On You Crazy Diamond. They see him there. He is unrecognizable. He is acting strangely to them.
Yeah.
When they asked him, "Hey, what'd you think of the song?" and his response was, "Sounds a bit old."
It's so crazy, though.
And then that was the last time they ever saw him. I feel like they probably were experiencing a lot of grief, and
it's also one of those. It's also one of those things as well that, like, us three in this call, and I'm assuming the listeners at home as well, very much understand that, like, life still goes on and life is very busy. And I'm imagining for some of the biggest rock stars in England, life is very, very, very busy. And so when you go to what you assume is a trusted professional with, "Hey, you're the best source to try to help our friend," and they just go shrug, you're not going to be like, "No, I'm going to fight this every single day," when you are still expected to create music and go on tour and do book deals and this and this and this and all sorts of stuff like that, to then deal with somebody who, again...
I was going to interrupt. Sorry, I was going to interrupt and say the other thing with it too is that if they went to this guy and said, psychiatrist, and they said, the psychiatrist goes, "Well, you know what? Yeah, he's incurable." And if the band members trusted that psychiatrist's authority, they maybe went, "Well, damn,
well, that's
this
what I'm
is
saying.
bad."
Yeah, is you would trust the source of, "Hey, this guy should be the best, quote unquote," you would think, to be able to help him. Oh, he can't? Well, what do you do at that point? Which, again,
right,
is very hard.
And then when you have him show up like a year later and he's acting very strangely, you're like, "Oh, well, that's kind of just confirmation that psychiatrist is right."
And I mean,
he's
if I'm remembering correctly as well, that you mentioned earlier that somebody he went to a lost or a wayward souls home. Is that the exact word that you said? Or
like a home for lost souls or something like that is what it was
a name
called.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know, it's so creepy.
Yeah. It was a private, quote, home for lost souls, but it says there was no formal therapy program there.
Yeah, so they just held him in a
So maybe
house.
that was maybe it was more of like a shelter at the time. Maybe he wasn't. I don't know. I don't know. It could have been a form of, like, supposed to mean.
Arcanon for something like that, maybe to try to get him away from any substances if he was still on them at the time. Like, who knows?
Oh, that's true. Like a detox sort of program.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
But we'll never know. But I mean, it's extremely sad that this person's life was changed for, hey, he's a rock star, and then changed multiple times, and then to where he ended up through his journey with mental health and substance abuse and all of that.
Yeah,
as well.
It is just a tragedy all around.
Yeah.
Right. And that was one thing that I found very interesting was when I was looking up these songs that were written by Sid, a lot of the comments were talking about Sid and also just being like, "Oh, this song is amazing and this song is so good," and which is true, or, "Oh, I enjoyed this song." But there were some people that were commenting and saying like, "Well, it's really sad that people are just looking at this music because they feel sad about Sid or whatever." And I'm like, I think that's kind of a reductive point of view, because two things can be true, right? You can feel sympathy and understanding for somebody who had a mental break and struggled with mental illness and substance abuse throughout their entire life. But you can also go back and listen to their song and be like, "Yeah, no, this song is really great." Like, both of those things can exist. And it doesn't mean that just because you feel, like I said, sympathy or understanding for the things that were happening in his life doesn't mean that you're just like, "Oh, I'll give it a pity listen." Like, no, it's a fun song also. Mm-hmm. It's just sad that these things happened to Sid, and we will never know the full extent of it. And honestly, at the time, he probably didn't either. And I think it's important too, because it did influence a lot of later Pink Floyd albums. And Roger Waters even said that Syd Barrett influenced his style of music.
Yeah.
and his songwriting, not even just the themes of mental illness, but just the sounds of the song too.
I mean, you even have the bass line of Syd Barrett was one of the members, like literally just straight up one of the members of the glue that held together Pink Floyd and helped, like he named it, like
create their sound. Yeah, he's the namesake. Yeah.
Like even something as simple as that is like, if you had no Syd, there probably wouldn't be a Pink Floyd, like, which is crazy to say. Again, as a person who wasn't privy to this knowledge an hour ago, roughly, but if you think about all the things that had to come together for this person to, again, oh, hey, yeah, I learned from underneath your mom, and then this thing over here, and then, oh, hey, I went to college with this guy over here, and then brought it all together.
We were high school buddies, yeah.
Then brought it all together to then go, hey, let's start a band. We're going to be called the T-Set, like, and stuff like that. So,
well, and that's the other thing that really, I think, was influential and touching to me when I was reading this story is that, like, it literally said in junior high, Syd Barrett was taught by Roger Waters' mom, and then Roger Waters and him went to high school together. So
they were
when
childhood
Roger
friends.
Waters, when Roger Waters is writing some of these some of these songs and going to the psychiatrist and, like, you know, acknowledging him as a founding member and things like that, you know, people could say, oh, well, it's the band's fault. They kicked him out. And the family says, don't contact him. He gets depressed about this and all that stuff. But I can't imagine the amount of not only that Syd's family feels, but that Roger Waters feels.
Yeah.
Like, Roger Waters has to feel an immense amount of pain and grief about losing his friend. I mean, he lost his friend before he physically lost his friend.
He lost him multiple times. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So I can't imagine just how emotional that would have been recording a song about the person and the person shows up.
That's what I was wondering. How did he even know? That's what I was trying to say of, like, how did he know to show up?
It's probably one of those things where he might have still had connections in the music industry.
Yeah.
And, if he knew that Pink Floyd was recording at Abbey Road, during a certain period of time, he could have just potentially, oh, hey, maybe they're here today, and wandered in and just so happened to wander into the session that was the song about him.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what happened. I think he probably was like, oh, yeah, they record at Abbey Road because we've recorded at Abbey Road or whatever, and just thought he'd stop by. And I think that the accidental part is that he showed up for a song that was about him.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is a crazy coincidence.
It very easily could have been something else, a different song. But he was just like, hey, drop it in.
We're making Bike 2.
So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because, of course, this topic was recommended by one of our lovely listeners,
Thank you
Toby
so much,
Ferry,
Toby.
7861. Thank you, Toby Ferry.
Shout out that guy.
Submitting that. I didn't really know what this was going to be about, or I'm like, oh yeah, Pink Floyd. Okay, I kind of vaguely know about them, but this is a lot more than I originally anticipated for this episode, and I think it just really connects well to conversations had in the modern day about substance abuse, about mental health, about how that impacts your relationships. And also, one of the last points I wanted to hit on is the healing power of music, that there's a lot of grief there, of course, between these personal relationships and Pink Floyd, but then to create music, to create art, to express your emotion and almost use it as a love letter to somebody, saying, like, if you were ever able to hear this, you can feel my emotion, you can hear what I'm trying to say to you, kind of a way of trying to maybe get through to Syd without directly, banging on his door and going, hey, come out, I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest questions that I have is that, did Syd Barrett ever listen to any of this? Was he
privy
too emotional
to it?
for him? Yeah. Where he decided, no, that's a part of my life I don't go back to. I don't want to know about.
I mean, considering he had signed the contract just saying, like, I don't want any money from this band ever. I want nothing to do with them, yada, yada. I don't know if he would have, like, if he would have even wanted to. And Lord knows that his mom and sister probably wouldn't.
I wonder if the only time he ever heard it was when he walked into that session.
Which
is wild.
Yeah.
It's all wild.
So just really tragically beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really how I feel about the situation. It's tragically beautiful.
That's the best way to put it.
That's a great way to end the year, going out on a
sad,
on a tragically beautiful
Merry
note.
Christmas, everybody.
No, to bring the mood back up though, because obviously, you know, some would say that Sid's life was sad. Some people would say, well, hey, yeah, he just stepped out of the public eye, so why are we that sad about it? He lived a normal life with his family, and you know, there are many takes there on it. But I think it just kind of serves as a reminder of how far we've come, what we've learned as a society about mental health, about relationships. And I think that's extremely relevant to this day, if not more so than other times. I know that it's something that's personally affected all of us and probably many of our listeners out there as well. So I just wanted to give this topic the delicacy that it deserves. I think that's delicacy. Is it food?
Tasty.
I don't know.
Delicacy is a food, I think. So
okay. I wanted to respect the delicate nature of this topic and wanted to share that with you all and kind of give the message of hope that if you are someone who's struggling or you love someone who's struggling, there are resources out there for you. Thankfully, we have come a long way from the 60s and 70s. We know a lot more. But also just know that you truly, as cliche as it is, you are not alone. So many people suffer with mental illness, with substance abuse, or even if you don't suffer from that personally, you love somebody that does.
Exactly.
And so it's very touching.
You don't have to suffer in silence.
Right.
Yeah.
If you want...
You're not alone, even if you want to be. Because it's just everyone...
Because I'm going to get you.
You're not alone. I'm in your...
Forceful positivity.
Yeah.
I love the ominous positivity memes and stuff like that. It's so great.
Yeah.
No, but like seriously though, it's like there are always people around you, even if you don't see it in the moment or even if it doesn't feel like it. There are people who care about you. There are resources that can help you through a really tough time, be it just general like depression or whatever mental illness or substance abuse or things that are even stronger. Just don't suffer alone because no one ever is alone.
And use this as an inspiration that music is incredibly healing. If you are somebody who enjoys music and listening to music, I would encourage you to check out Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Check out Wish You Were Here. That one might make you cry. I don't know if that's just me, maybe my personal connection to it, but that one might make you cry.
If you want to check out Big Guy by Ice Spice as well.
No. That's...
Oh, that one makes me cry every time, dude.
Oh my gosh. Big Guy, it sucks. That song sucks. But you know who are the biggest guys of all to us in our hearts? It is our patrons over on patreon.com, on Cam's Patreon, on Gurdon's Patreon. We thank you guys so much. We apologize again for missing an episode. Like I said, life do be crazy. Y'all probably understand that. So wanted to give you something to think about as you close out the year, and just wanted to let y'all know that we appreciate you so much. We could not do this without y'all's support. And I see your comments. I read your comments. I write down your suggestions. Obviously, today was a topic suggestion. So keep those coming. And thank you for sticking with us into another year.
Here's the 2026. 2025 can go into a hole. We don't need it anymore.
Hope you had a happy holiday and have a bomb new year. Just really cool.
And don't forget to remember to forget.
True.